right? End-to-end scenarios, resetting, and all these scenarios is done. And now moving on to one more scenario that we have in an Android. That's the most important thing is switching the views basically. How exactly we can switch the view of that particular application. So what exactly the meaning of a switching a view? So basically, whenever you are dealing with a hybrid apps, usually the hybrid apps has a two views. One is a native view and the second one is a web view. So if you see this application, the SaaS Lab application, I have a web view functionality. I'm just choosing this web view. So far we are on a native application screen itself, whereas here it is asking us to enter the URL of that particular application. So whenever you enter the URL and go to site here, okay, so here a web page is being redirected. Okay, what happened? HTTPS www.bing.com. When I go to the site, see here, the web page is rendering here on that particular app itself. This is what a web instance is. Okay, so what this application these guys are doing, they are rendering the web page within the same app itself. For us, if you see this, we can see that something, this is a screen within an app itself. But here, this is a web browser that's being opening here on this particular application. Your Appium, we should explicitly call out that so far you are in a native instance, you need to switch to a web view so that you can perform that particular operation. Okay, so that you can perform, you can continue to the next view, and then you can perform whatever the desired operations you want, you can perform those operations. And moreover, so this is the scenario where your application is having in a real world, where exactly these web views will be populated means, assume that you are working on an application which has a login functionality. Upon clicking on a login button, developer will display the login information in the web form. Okay, developer will display the complete login information in pass in a kind of a web form basically. So in such situations, you need to switch to a web view, and then you can perform the operations accordingly. Okay, and then you can perform the operations accordingly. So the ultimate point out over here is how exactly we can switch to these web view, and how to identify the locators in a web view, and how to perform operations in a web view is the most important concept. So here I'm just using this SaaSlab command itself, SaaSlab scroll code, and I'm placing this code again, and switch view. Okay, and here this is the switch view, and on this switch view, what I'm doing means, so let me delete this unnecessary logic here, and complete logic deleted here. So what we are doing right now, so we are launching the SaaS lab application, and from where you are performing a scroll down operation, and then you are using this XPath to click on a standard user. Upon clicking on a standard user, we need to click on a login button. So here, let me go back to the saved capabilities, Android, and let me start a session first of all, so that I can identify the login button locator, and I can directly place the locator for that. Okay, so let me identify. So login button. So login button is having this accessibility ID. Copy it, go back here. So driver dot find element by accessibility ID. Find element by accessibility ID and dot click. Basically, I just want to use a click operation. find by accessibility ID data click. As and when you perform a click operation on a login button, so the side menu will be populated for us. Okay, so 1 second. So let me scroll down a bit. Standard user login, and I need to click on this side menu. Okay, so let me maximize the screen, get the side menu locator. And is this the locator? We have a separate locator, na? Content description test menu. So here it is having some text menu. Let me copy it and let me identify whether I was able to identify with this locator or not. Test menu. Okay. I was able to identify with the accessibility ID. And again, I want to perform a click operation with this test menu. Okay. So I performed a click operation on this. And upon performing a click operation on this side menu here, you need to click on this web view. So let us reload this instance and let us identify this web view. Okay. So let me see directly web view. Okay. Web view. I'm just trying to identify. Okay. So let me identify the source code for this web view once. As I am unable to identify the locator directly, I'm just drilling down into the source code to identify the locators. Okay, there is a close. So here the web view is a text web view test. So come back here and click on this one. Okay, click on this one. Test web view. So we will be clicking on this web view that will be navigating to this screen. So here a user can enter the value and he need to click on that search button too. So I need to get the locator for this. So here the accessibility ID is this one. Copy this accessibility ID, or you can also copy this XPath, whichever is comfortable, you can do that. So driver dot find element by XPath dot. So here I need to enter a send keys https www.bing.com. So I have entered this value. Okay, and upon entering this particular value, we need to click on this go to site, and go to site is having an accessibility ID. Come back here and let me place it here. So web. So that's it. I have placed all my locators, and here upon clicking on this, it will be navigating to that particular screen. So 1 second. So here https www.bing.com. This is what the credentials that we have given, and after some time this is opening up. Now we need to enter a value into this bing.com search feed. So how exactly I can identify the locators for this one? And before that, how exactly we can switch the view from, okay, so what are all the contexts we have? How exactly we can get the context, and how exactly we can switch that particular view also we should know, right? So we should get the context first. How many contexts are there? Basically, we need to get all the context, and later I can ask my program to switch that particular context. Or else I can say, if at all something is there with a native view or something is there with a hybrid view, just go ahead and switch to that. And after switching the context, then we can ask our program to perform the operations on that particular locator. That's fine. So here, what I am doing right now means, after performing this operation, let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, so I'm just giving a wait as a few seconds basically. Okay, after performing a value entry operation, I'm just asking it to wait for 4500 milliseconds. And now driver dot. So we need to get all the contexts basically which were opened by our Appium basically. So here, get the context handles is a command that will be getting the list of contexts which are open. So here, I'm saying it as a set of a string and I'm storing it in a context is equal to. So the complete context, whether it is a native instance, whether it is a whether it is a web instance, whichever instances are there, this context is going to get as it is in a string. So what I am doing right now means for string, okay, for string context, okay, in context basically. Okay, I just want to print this value. So I don't want to switch at all. First of all, I just want to perform a print operation on this particular context, guys. So let us see what exactly it's going to perform and what exactly it's going to return to the console. Run as a Java application. Here, guys, there are couple of issues which we usually encounter whenever we are switching to a web view. Okay, let me try to run my test script and I will show you what are all the most commonly encountered issues here whenever we are switching our context to a web view. Okay, application to application, you will be encountering a different sets of issues with respect to this context, but we will see all those issues one after another for now. Okay, so it will switch to the web view. It should enter a value here and then it should click and then it's wait for some time and then it should return the context. So here the context that it got returned is basically native view and a web view. That's it. It got a returned two contexts. Now I launched my Chrome browser manually, guys. No thanks. So I launched my Chrome browser. Somehow I just launched my Chrome browser and okay, so one second, proceed to YouTube. So I launched my Chrome browser on this particular mobile. Kill it. Where I have launched this Chrome, YouTube on the Chrome browser, I launched it. So let me kill, okay, don't kill all the instances. So if you see here, maybe, Amazon, something I have opened on my mobile. Okay, on my mobile Chrome browser, I have opened. Now, let me close this and let me try to run my test script and see how this is going to work. Run as a Java application this time. Observe the situation now. Okay, so let's see how it is getting executed and what it is getting printed down to the console. It's getting executed, standard. Web view selection is there. It entered the value now. It clicks and now let us see what it is printing down to the console. See here, if you observe, in an earlier instance, when the program got executed, so you have these two instances that it got retrieved. Whereas in the current instance, this is the instance it's being recognizing. Okay, the issue out over here with respect to the mobile automation here is whenever you are trying to get the context of a particular browser, there is an issue here with the Appium. What it's going to do means whichever the contexts are already there for the browser, it's going to get that particular context. So these web Chrome, though we haven't launched this constant context basically as of now when the script execution, but still Appium is retrieving this constant context. So immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. Will that be any issue for us? I don't think it will cause an issue for us. So if you consider here, usually whenever if you know that this is what your context name is, you can ask your program directly to switch to that context. Then it won't be any problem. Though there are a multiple contexts are there, it will be switching down to the context. Certain applications, basically what they will do means they will have this web view only thing displayed. Other than that, this information com dot, these things, based on page to page, whenever they are integrating, this information will change. That's the reason what we usually do means. So One second. So what we usually do whenever you are working on our programs means, other than a native app, whatever the context is there, switch to that context. So if this context comes first, the WebView Chrome, instead of switching to our actual Swag Lab instance, your program will switch to this context and it will not perform any operations. So the quick solutions for this particular one is, either you have to close all the browser instances before launching your test script. So here I'm just killing up all my browser instances before launching the test script. That's the first solution. Or the second solution, what you need to do is directly you can specify this context name. This is what my context I want you to switch. If this is there, then only switch to the context, else don't switch to the context. You just need to explicitly call out at this particular thing. Okay, you just need to explicitly call out at this particular thing. Okay, good. Done the deal. Any questions for me on this so far? Everyone? Venu, Venkat, Gopal?
So currently context is showing, which is I mean all context available in the session, current session,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. So before executing before execution the script, so we have to make sure that no
Yes.
other
Browser
app
instances.
browser instances available in the session, right?
Yes. So the thing is, if any other app is there, it's not going to face any issues with respect to the app. Only with respect to the browser instance that we are using, it's facing the difficulties. So the only thing is, whenever you are just trying to execute a hybrid app scenarios, make sure that you have a closer to those things. Or the another way how we can deal is, if you know what exactly your web view name is there, you no need to close those instances also. Directly give that exact web view. So you can say that this is what the web view I want you to perform a switch operation. Give that a web view name. Automatically it will switch there. Got it? Gopal, Venkat, and Venu. Any questions on this?
Yes, got it.
Perfect. Done the deal. Yeah, cool.
The same like a Windows Center, right? Surendra, how we are doing web application.
Web application?
We are switching to Windows, right?
How you are switching the windows, the similar way you need to switch the context here, Venkat. So again, this is specific to certain applications. If they are building a hybrid app, there are a few screens basically. So payment gateway screens, login screens, and certain screens are there, and certain applications have some help text and all those things. No? So those scenarios will be 90%, those screens will be on a web views itself. Okay, good. Done up to here. Okay, perfect. So this is the way how exactly we need to get the context. And now once we have this context, we need to ask our program to switch to the context so that we can perform operations on that. So for which we need to go ahead and we need to perform a switch operation that we will